Hey everybody, Quantum here, and it is Saturday, May 17th. We do have the full reveal now for set 8, Reign of Jafar, and we're going to be doing what we always do, a little mini series where we review the ink colors for the new set, talking about some of the cards that might be meta relevant, some cards that may be underrated. This is probably one of the more insightful videos. I know that, the deck profiles and the gameplay sometimes is the most popular, but these videos, guys, if you're actually buying cards, it gets you thinking, right? Critically think about some of these cards, combos, etc. Look at what might be undervalued. Again, if you've been around my channel before, we have a pretty good track record of calling a lot of things out before they spike. I post it publicly, and then I, literally just post a proof showing you like a snapshot of, not card market, of a TCG player up here in North America. But regardless, all that aside, take everything with a grain of salt. This is not, financial advice, obviously, et cetera, all those disclaimers. But let's go ahead and jump straight in with Amber. So I think Dreamborn is a little bit buggy, but I do know they have all the cards now, which is great. Starting off with a Louis, a 3-cost inkable 2/3 quest for 2. That's an uncommon. While this character is being challenged, the challenging character gets -1. So these Louis, Dewey, Huey cards, I'm going to say that all of them are pretty restrictive to like a casual deck that is going to use this whole theme of I forget what I know it's from like Scrooge McDuck, right? Because I remember it's the nephews, but I forget what the actual show was called. So yeah, all three of these, a 4-cost Dewey, that's a 4/4 quest for 1. They're all Storyborn allies, so nothing too relevant. Like this one for 2 uninkable, a 2/3. Whenever this character requests, you may pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. This one might be useful because it's like Doc, right, from Rise of the Floodborn, where you were able to play it on 3. It was also a 2/3 body, but it was inkable, and when you quest with it, you're able to play the next character for 1 less. So this is the one that actually might be a little bit playable, but its uninkability in the 2-drop slot for Amber, which is right now an aggro color. I hope we see it develop into a mid-range color. There's probably just better 2-drops. After set rotation, though, which is another factor we need to consider, can't really talk too much about it now until we see what we're actually working with in set rotation. This card likely becomes a lot better because you probably won't have Doc. Those 7 Dwarfs probably won't be reprinted. They might want to print newer copies of 7 Dwarfs. And Mr. Smee is not going to be reprinted either, almost guaranteed. Like the card is the best 2-drop in the game, and Amber's most popular pairing is Steel. And if you're playing Amber Steel, you're almost always playing Mr. Smee as well as some other more quest heavy 2-drops. But this is not a bad card. This can do a turn 3 Rapunzel. It can do a turn 3 Goofy. It can do a lot of different things here, but the uninkability does hurt it just a little bit, and it only quests for 1. And Doc, I believe, quested for 2. Right, that was the other major differentiating factor. Okay, anyways, next up, we've got the new legendary Goofy. I talked about this in my member-only video. I do think this card looks interesting. Being a 4-cost card at a 3/4 body that quests for 2, stats look pretty decent in my opinion. The issue is it doesn't really find its way into any meta, like existing meta deck right now, in my opinion. It may end up into some aggro variations of Amber. I think it can definitely fit in there because at the end of your turn, you may remove up to 1 damage from each of your other characters. Ready each character you remove damage from this way. What immediately comes to mind are like self-damaging characters. There's a lot in Ruby, so Amber Ruby might become a thing. Obviously, the big thing is Mr. Smee immediately, right? Just could slot right in there. The issue is, do you play this over some of the other 4-drop cards that you already play in Amber Steel? Amber Steel Song probably won't find room for this. Diggy Diggy Hole or an aggro variation of Amber Steel. I find it hard to, because it's conditional upon removing damage, I find it hard that this card may replace something like just a Sven, right? The card that just comes into place and readies up your character. It doesn't need the damage on it to protect it. Sven also quests for 2. It's a 4-cost inkable. It's a 3/3. Goofy's a 3/4. But I do think after set rotation, Goofy probably becomes better. And if you're looking to build Amber Ruby, the Goofy is definitely really good. Next up, we got Antonio Madrigal. I would click on the cards, but like I said, I think Dreamborn is glitched right now, so they're not really loading. But we do have a 4-cost inkable 2/2 Amber Amethyst dual ink card that quests for 2. This card looks pretty interesting, but I think we need more to flesh out the Amber Amethyst Song deck, So this says once during your turn, whenever one of your characters sings a song, so, Friends on the Other Side, World's Greatest Criminal Mind, there's not really much else, off the top of my head that are really good Amber and or Amethyst songs. I'm sure there's a lot of them, but I just can't think of any. Like, Bosses on a Roll, but that's not really that great. What else? I mean, Bare Necessities is good as well. Bare Necessities is really good, but it's hard for me to just think off the top of my head here for good songs. But when you are able to build this deck and sing a song with this character on the board, you may search your deck with a card cost 3 or less, reveal that card to all players, put the card into your hand, shuffle your deck, and a quest for 2. This card is broken because it's an infinite search engine. I mean, it is vulnerable, right? It's an expensive. A 4 for a 2/2 gets outed by Fire the Cannons, Let the Storm Rage On, Brawl, etc. Like, it's very vulnerable. But if it goes uncontested, you're going to get like infinite card advantage off of this thing. So whatever sings like replaces itself immediately. Not only do you get value off the song that you sing, but you get to search for a 3 cost card or less, and whatever you search for you can likely play. So it's almost like a toolbox. I need a Mim Fox, I need whatever, right? You play that out and you get instant value off of this thing, which is crazy. I do hope that we do see some good songs coming out for this ink pairing, even if they have to be locked into dual ink. But I do really think that this card could be pretty good. Anything that searches is insane, but it does have a lot of weaknesses, right? Similar to the Merlin Shift, the Visionary that we got in set 5, I want to say it was. Searches for anything, but it's very conditional to make it work. All right, next up we've got Minnie Mouse. I talked about this as well. I wish these cards clicks works, but unfortunately they're not. But this one is a 4-cost inkable Amber Ruby 08. I love this card. It does have bodyguard. Whenever this character gets +1 strength for each 1 damage on her. Amber Ruby, there's a lot you can do to cook up with this card. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I can play like that Scar, the set championship Scar. So you play this on 4, you play the set championship Scar on 5. You deal like 2 damage to her and then 2 damage to something else. Yeah, but I mean, that's combo oriented, and how good is that Scar? Would you rather just play Teeth and Ambitions? Probably. I mean, that Scar does quest for 3, but it's very vulnerable too. Like, there's just a lot more you can do with this, I think. I do like this card a lot, and it's a Minnie Mouse name, which could be relevant for the future as well. Pretty good card, in my opinion, for the Amber Ruby pairing. The 0 strength here shouldn't really be that much of an issue, because as soon as it gets 3 damage, it evades Brawl. It does, need 4 damage or more in order to play around Medusa, but yeah, I think this card is pretty interesting, pretty good. Ludwig von Drake. If you were a part of my member only video or saw that, I said that this card is very, very strong. If you've watched my videos before, I am a big fan of Duress, aka Bare Necessities in Disney's Lorcana, and Ludwig von Drake is Duress on a body, right? It costs 2. It's not a song, but it's a character. It's a 1/1 body, uninkable, but you'll likely always be playing this anyways, and it quests for 1. So when you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. Very, very relevant. Again, wish the cards were actually working here, but that's fine. How good this card could be will depend on the meta, right? Are we going to see 60 character heavy metas? Probably not. There's a lot of really good non-characters in the game that you kind of lose the utility for if you try to go with an all-character deck. It makes Mufasa less and less viable as you get more powerful songs that just can outpace the value that Mufasa gives you. That being said, you also get a lot of great characters each set, and that's the primary focus of the game is characters, right? But you'll likely always get value off of Ludwig von Drake. Obviously, the biggest drawback of this card is its ink pairing. Nobody really plays Amber Sapphire. I do think that this ink pairing needs some pretty powerful tools, and this is definitely one of them that can really propel this ink pairing to something a little bit more viable. Because not only does it have the Bare Necessities on a body ability, it also has another effect, Lasting Legacy. When this character is banished, you may put this card into your ink while face down and exerted. So it's a Grammatala as well as a Bare Necessities on one card, and it costs the same as both of them. Not combined. It costs 2. Grammatala costs 2. Bare Necessities costs 2. This card costs 2 and does both of those effects. Yes, it's uninkable, but it's a very powerful card. You play it, you rip a card, right? This card is on the board, so you technically +1, even though it's a weak body. If it gets outed, it becomes an ink resource. This card's +2. Well, +1, but the ink resource and the ramp that you get off of this is also like really, really good. We could see something like, I mean, I think there's enough discard in Amber that you could maybe look at an Amber Sapphire discard deck, right? Like 4 of this, 4 Bare Necessities, and then you can play an aggressive top end, like with Surfer Stitches or something. Post rotation, this card could be really, really good, right? If Amber Sapphire becomes a meta breaker deck, we do need a we do need a set rotation, sorry, in order to freshen up the meta and make the old guard decks like Amber Steel Song, etc., just kind of lose their identity a little bit. Like Amber Steel Song still revolves around a whole new world. There's almost no chance that card gets reprinted, in my opinion. And we'll talk about that when we get to the Steel section at the end of the series, probably several days out. But yeah, this could be a new power pairing for Amber. I know I'll be picking up copies of this. Probably, I'm hoping that it stays cheap because it's an ink pairing that nobody really plays. But it's a good card. It probably won't be cheap because the abilities are very good. And you know, like Mushu and Ruby Steel was still like a $7 rare. I mean, I think it started off at like $10, which wasn't worth it. I think it's ended up dropping to like 3 or 4 now as a Ruby Steel card, like the Mushu that came out in set 7 or KZ's Island. But like nobody plays Ruby Steel. It's not like viably competitive, right? Like at the top levels. So for that reason, this card might come down. If it's really expensive on pre-orders, I would wait. It's probably worth a couple bucks. But longer term, you know, I think it's worth an investment for sure. All right, next up we got Charlotte LaBeouf. Nothing to see here. 1 cost Princess, 1/3. Okay, maybe a future shift target. We got Tiana, Natural Talent, a rare. 4 cost uninkable, 2/4. That's Singer 6. So this is reminiscent of Prince Naveen, but not nearly as good of an ability. Whenever you play a song, don't have to sing it. Each opposing character gets -1 until the start of your next turn. So this is really interesting. I wonder how this works with like Under the Sea. So you play Under the Sea, and then this triggers. So does Under the Sea have to resolve first and get out of the bag before this triggers and puts everything to -1? That would be I'd be interesting in that. I think that's how it would go. I think that you play Under the Sea, and then you've played the song resolves, then you give everything -1. Because if you could like stack it so that you play Under the Sea and then you trigger this as well, and they both go into the bag, and then you can say resolve Tiana first, give everything -1, then resolve Under the Sea. That would be really strong for like the Emerald Amber pairing. I mean, this is still a 4 cost uninkable, so I don't even know if you'd play it, but it is a Singer 6, so it does help with the Sing Together package. So again, combo dependent, but might be a half decent card. Next up, we've got Bruno Madrical, a 1 cost 0/2. Common. When you play this character, you may reveal a song card in your hand to gain 1 lore. Interesting. 1 cost instant lore gain card that quests for 1. I don't think it's relevant right now, but it's good to see Amber getting some. I mean, I don't know if I should say it's good to see, but like Amber getting non-questing sources of lore can be kind of scary. But again, aggro decks probably don't play too many songs, and this was very conditional on the lore gain, so it's probably fair enough. Next up, we got the new Lady, a rare. Still not working. Okay. Family Dog, 2/2 for 3, inkable, quest for 2. That's. I mean, the 2/2 stat line is like really, really underwhelming. It's like the thing really holding this card back as well, Antonio Madrigal. But if it does survive and it quests for 2, you've got your value off of it. When you play this character, you may play a character with cost 2 or less for free. So obviously, this is like amazing for like Amber Steel Song when they whole new world, right? Just empty their hand quicker. Amazing for aggro oriented strategies, obviously. As long as you have card draw and are able to gas back up your hand, you know, even if you're not, you just want to dump your hand on the board anyways. So this card helps facilitate that. This card will probably be worth money. Oh, yeah, there it is. Already going for more money than the other rares. Yeah. I don't know. Like, when I look at this card, the thing about this card is like it curves well into Piglet. If you don't have a 1-drop or your 1-drop gets outed and you play Piglet on 2, then you play Lady on 3, and then drop another character with the Lady, your Piglet is now on line 2 from turn 2. But Yeah, it's a good card. It's definitely not worth $12. I would say it's not. Um, there's a lot. I'm just thinking like there's a lot you could do with this card though. That's the issue. Like you pair it with Amber Amethyst, not the magical deck, but like you naturally have a lot of draw on Amethyst. So like this card just is instant card advantage, well board advantage, tempo advantage, which could be really good for you. Um, yeah, interesting card. Definitely good. I hope it doesn't end up going to like. Nah, it definitely can't. Yeah, as a rare non-foil, it's definitely overpriced. I think the foils might be worth money, but I mean, even Daisy Duck is less than this, right? And I don't think this is gonna displace the price of Daisy. Like in terms of like, is it the Daisy Duck of this set? No, right? Next up, you got Jim Deere, Beloved Husband, a 0/4 for 2 inkable with bodyguard. Nothing to see there. We got Jean, a 1 cost inkable 1/2 common, quest for 1. Whenever this character quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character, so not relevant right now. If we do eventually see something that's like whenever you remove damage, gain that much lore, like an item or whatever, like these kind of healing cards might become like a deck, right? Like Amber Ruby, right? Damage your own stuff, heal it up, and get lore in the process. Would be a cool way to see that archetype going. You got a Perdita, which is a shift target, basically a 2 cost inkable 1/4, so pretty hefty stats, right? Reminiscent of Ursula, Vanessa. Whenever you have a puppy character in play, this character gets +1 willpower. All right, so not a bad addition to the puppy deck. A Perdita shift target that actually has pretty powerful stats. All of the Perdita cards are very, very low in strength, though, um, from what I can remember at least. So I would like to see that change. Maybe give her, show the power of the mom here, right? The mother dog here, when she needs to protect her children. All right. Anyways, we got Rhino, 1/16 wolf. Okay, I don't even know what this is from. But I should watch that movie. It looks interesting. 1 cost inkable 1/2. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gets -1 strength until the start of your next turn. Um, I mean, I like these strength reducing cards, but you're not gonna want to play this as your 1 drop. Obviously, you want to play this later on. Sapphire has an uninkable Minnie Mouse that does something similar. It's like it like gives -2. I think it also costs 1. Like these cards just aren't good, right? And they likely won't be good. Um, so unfortunately, just a pass for now. You got Darling Deer, 5 cost inkable 4/4. When you play this character, chosen character gets +2 lore this turn. And it quests for 1. This card is very interesting as a common too, nonetheless. So while it's not instant lore, it turns like if this card is potentially played in aggro amber strategies, what doesn't look like lethal on board now potentially can become lethal with cards like this. So this is a very interesting card, something that I'll look to pick up. I mean, it's just a common, so it'll be pretty cheap, especially the foil versions. It does cost 5, which is quite hefty. But I mean, again, if you've seen the way that the play patterns develop for aggro decks, literally they get to like 17, 18, 19, and they just can't get over the line. A card like this can help them get over the line, right? And your opponent will have to play differently if they know that this card is in the meta. They can't let your readied card sit, so they may have to spend extra resources outing your weenie 1 drops because they're like, that thing could turn into a 3 quester off of the Darling Deer coming down, and so I can't work to develop my own board. I have to like be prep this 1 drop or something, right? Which feels terrible. You've seen people do that. High level players do that, right? You've seen people like try to play around Super Goof, be prep their own board after they've quested because they don't want to play into a Super Goof. I think I've even done that. Maybe in a match that I posted against my friend, my testing partner from a while ago. But yeah, this card is an interesting addition, something that I think can definitely do some work for Amber. Next up, you got the Colonel, a 5 cost inkable 3/6. While you have 3 or more puppy characters in play, this character gets +2 strength and +2 lore as a rare. Okay, I don't think this is very good. In the puppy, obviously, like in the puppy deck, I don't even know if you'd want to play this because I know the goal is to have that like a lot of puppies in play, but like if you have that many puppies in play, you probably don't need this thing. Like you're probably just aggressively demanding the board state anyways, commanding the board state. So like why play this liability that has a very, very limiting condition. Next up, we got Chief Bogo, a 6-cost inkable 5/5 body that quests for 1. Would have liked to see it quest for 2, but I think this is going to be a cheap legendary, and I will likely pick this up because I do like the bodyguard decks, and I would like to see them become more meta relevant and competitive in the future, which might happen after set rotation. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters with bodyguard is banished, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character with cost 5 or less, you may play that character for free. Otherwise, put it on top of your deck. This card might actually help make bodyguard decks viable. The issue that you run into with this card is that it's very costly. So like you have to do a lot to set this up, and then how does it stay protected is another issue. And it's only during an opponent's turn, not during your turn. So during an opponent's turn, they're like, I don't want to deal with your bodyguard character to give you a free value off of the Chief Bogo you have there, so I'm going to focus my efforts on dealing with the Chief Bogo. That being said, if this thing is just sitting readied or is exerted, right, they're going to have to run through the bodyguard anyways, so it's interesting. If it's in a ready state, though, obviously, it's a lot harder to deal with. But again, this is like forcing your opponent, leave the bodyguard up and do some wonky stuff to try to deal with this Bogo so I don't give you free tempo gain off of dealing with your bodyguard while this Bogo just sits readied up uncontested. I'll probably try to test something out with this card. Again, the high cost does suck because it makes it, like, by the time you develop this, do you already just lose the game, right? In most competitive matchups, are you already at a game state where, like, okay, they're just going to play constant removal, like, I just can't keep this thing up if I get it down on turn 6, or even before turn 6 if I play it with like ramp or lanterns or something, right? Like docks or the new Huey, etc. Can I get this out early? Does it even matter? Interesting, but I do like the design of this card. The cost does hurt, but we got to cook. We got to see what's good. I think it will be an undervalued and underrated legendary for the future. Next up, we got a new Pua, a 3-cost inkable 2/2 in the dual ink pairing of Amber Amethyst. So yeah, we will review the dual inks available for Amber, so this will be a longer video than the other ones. But this one says when this character is banished, you may draw a card. That's pretty good. Bodyguard, draw a card, so it's got characteristics of both inks. Again, very weak, but doesn't matter because when it gets banished, it draws you a card. It can protect your stuff, right, on 3, and it does quest for 1 as well. So, put this into play, protects your board. Your opponent has to run into this. When they do, draws you a card. Actually, a half decent card. Really good for limited or draft, I would imagine. Not sure how you integrate this into Amber Amethyst, simply because I think there's a lot of things competing for the 3-drop slot already. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, don't think it's like super competitively viable, but it's an interesting card. Yeah, bodyguard, just more food for Chief Bogo. Next up, we got the super rare 7-cost inkable Bruno Madrical in Amber Amethyst as well. A 3/7 with a shift 5 quest for 2. Whenever this character sings a song, you may draw a card for each character you have in play. This, I talked about this in my member only video. This is a very strong effect in my opinion, because if you do get the shift off and then you instantly sing any song, doesn't have to be a certain cost song, sing any song, sing Friends, and I have 3 characters in play, I draw 5. That's crazy. Obviously though, this does cost 7. It is uninkable, so raw playing this out sucks. If you're singing with it, you're not questing with it, so is the 2 lore lost worth it? Again, depending on your board size, when you play this, it might be. 3/7 stats are nice, but it does fall susceptible to Maui Shark still. So a lot of things that put it on, not really super relevant, at least not right now, but definitely a card to watch for the future. Drawing a card for each character you have in play is nuts. That's just a nuts effect. That it could literally just be like draw 6, right? Like you just dump, like in an aggro deck, that Amber Amethyst obviously has a history of being. You dump your whole hand out, right? I mean, you have to top deck this and then a song, right? Or so you dump most of your hand out, you still have a song in hand, you have this in hand, you set up the shift, you get the sing off. You can see like it's a little, neither here nor there, but in a future meta, it might be relevant. It's a good effect. It's a really good effect. It's just right now, because of how efficient the format is with all of the early cards, like it's hard to get the setup going and making it work, right? Which is why it's not good right now. But you never know. We might get a very good Bruno, right? Look at what happened with Pete and Pete Space Pirate, right? Pete Games Referee, Pete Space Pirate. All you just need is that one good shift target, and this card becomes a lot more viable. I mean, the Pete isn't really a great example because Space Pirate is good on its own. It's inkable still, but it's definitely super relevant and way more relevant for the fact that Pete Games Referee exists. Next up, we got a Ka, a 4-cost uninkable 3/3 that quests for 2. It's not uncommon. Whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character gets -2 and gains Reckless until the start of your next turn. So interesting card, but for the Amber Emerald Ink pairing, I just don't think it does enough. You have to quest with it, which means you can't use it to sing under the sea. You know, you're giving -2. I don't know. I'd rather just play like something else that just gives widespread negative strength, which I think this ink pairing got in this set. Next up, you got the new Tramp, another super rare, a 6-cost inkable Dapper Rascal, a 2/8 body, which is actually super relevant because is there something that reanimates 2 strength or less characters in Amber? Don't remember. But it's a shift 4, which is good. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, including itself, you may draw a card and a quest for 2. This card is good, in my opinion. This card is good. It doesn't say banished in a challenge, so if they brawl something, even if they brawl this, etc., this card is good. It can also shift, not that you'd want to, but it can shift on the set 7 Tramp that you could play for free, right? The other Emerald Amber Tramp. Not that you'd want to, but you know, you play that Tramp for free, you shift this one on top of it, get it out early enough. Again, it doesn't really make sense right now. You'd definitely be playing smaller Tramps. Obviously, an aggro strategy card, the 2-drop Tramp is probably way more relevant. Crazy to think. I don't know what they're. I think I saw non-foils of that Tramp going for like $8 or something now. I picked them up for like 25 cents, and I picked up foils for $1.50. I remember sending my friend a screenshot, and I don't even know what the foils are. I should check that of the set 7 Emerald Tramp. That's a 2-drop that you can play for 1 if you have a lady in play, and it gives like strength. Crazy. Anyways, yeah, Tramps are good investments in my opinion. 3-cost inkable King Candy, uncommon 3/2. When this character is banished, you may return another racer card from your discard to your hand. I haven't really looked at or given much thought to the racer package. I mean, I can see you got several cards here. Might get better, but this is not the way I would want to play Amber Ruby personally, so it's going to just be an overlook for me. 7-cost uninkable Wreck-It Ralph Big Lug 7/5 body, so same stats as Maui Shark. Shifts for 5, okay? When you play this character and whenever he quests, you may return a racer card with cost 6 or less from your discard to your hand, and if you do, gain 1 lore. A great ability, great effect if racers were good. You need a really good Ralph target as well to be able to shift 5 this and quest. It only quests for 1 too, which is underwhelming. Well, I mean, it quests for effectively 2. Sorry, it quests for 1, but it effectively quests for 2 because when you quest with it, you're going to return a racer, so you gain card advantage. Your discard becomes a little bit of a toolbox, and then you gain 1 lore when you recur the racer as well. So it effectively quests for 2, but it's not anywhere near viable in my opinion right now. We got a new puppy. Okay, a couple of Sapphire Amber dual ink cards. 1-cost uninkable patch, 0/2 with ward, so pretty good. You don't really care about the 0 until much later on in the game where Under the Sea and Big Sisus and stuff become a problem. While you have another puppy character in play, this character gets +1 lore. I would say that's pretty good for an aggro-oriented version of puppies that is Amber Sapphire. Next up, you got Rolly. 4-cost inkable uncommon. 2/3 body with support. When you play this character, you may put a chosen card from your discard into your inkwell face down. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I talked about this. Yeah, this card is interesting because what you can do is like Tipo or Sail on 2, which we know that every Sapphire deck basically plays. And then on turn 3, you play this. So you have 5 ink on turn 3 that you're going to be able to go to 6 ink by turn 4, which is nuts. I mean, you do have to have a card in your discard. So when you're playing on curve like that, you may not have that yet. But yeah, this card is potentially pretty good. Next up, we do have a new Perdita. This card's artwork is amazing. Whoever did this, yeah, the Perdita looks really good here. She looks like she's like a real boss of her puppies here, of her children, which is good to see. A 4/6 body that shifts for 4, pretty good. Quest for 2. When you play this character, you may put all puppy cards from your discard into your inkwell face down and exerted. That's a very strong ability potentially. You know, even if it only gets you like 3 or 4 ink, that's crazy. And it's a 4/6 body that shifts for 4, and you actually have a decent Perdita up here. So you play this, and then by turn 4 you're shifting this. You know, your puppies are questing. You don't care because you're playing towards the shift line. You just get all that extra resources ink. Your opponent's been wasting cards, challenging your puppies. Like, yeah, you know, that's pretty good. Like they deal with this, they deal with this. All these cards become ink, right? By turn 4, ramping you even further. That's actually kind of cracked. Very interesting card. Again, puppies don't seem to be popping up anywhere competitively. I mean, obviously this is like, you know, the cards aren't out yet, but you know, you never know. Maybe a deck like this may break the mold and start topping in tournaments. We'll see. You got Pluto here, an Amber Steel dual ink 6 cost, inkable 2/7. While this character has no damage, he gets +2 strength and gain support and a quest for 2. Not something I see being relevant in Amber Steel anytime soon, especially for the high cost and conditional ability. Next up, you got a new Bolt, which is good as a shift target. 3 cost, inkable 0/4 that quests for 4. Wow. This character enters play exerted. So not great. It's a rare. Hard to say if this card would see play. I would say probably not, because coming into play exerted is just too much of a liability for Amber Steel particularly. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. It depends, right? I mean, but you know, do you really want to bet on high rolling all your songs to remove your opponent's threats to get this card to be safe? You know, or I guess you could look at it as you play this, it forces your opponent to throw their stuff into it. You know, which is likely more than one character. They out it, but then it protects the rest of your board, so it acts as a pseudo bodyguard because of how much lore it can gain if it does get to untap. But yeah, I just don't see it right now as a great card. Oh, you got a Rhino. That's a super rare. Did I see this already? A 4 cost inkable, 4/3 shift for 2. Wow. So give some legs to the 1-drop Rhino here. Not a 5 cost character, so it doesn't synergize with all those steel songs. While this character has no damage, he gains resist +2 and a quest for 2. Coming down on 2, this card could be nuts. Like, it's going to quest multiple times before you're even going to be able to deal with it, or your opponent's going to be able to deal with it if it does come down on 2. They learned their lesson, though, not making this a 5 cost card like the Queen Shift package, but this card is very strong. It's very strong, if you get the early shift off, because your opponent's, this card's going to go unanswered for like several turns. Like, to get over resist +2, but like on turn 2 is impossible right now, right? Like, there's literally nothing that can really do that. Next up, you got Antonio's Jaguar, Faithful Companion, a 1/4. So again, Ursula Vanessa stats for 2 inkable. When you play this character, if you have a character named Antonio in play, Antonio Madrigal that is, you gain a lore. So not something I see being super relevant. Doubt this will ever get a shift target or anything like that. We did get a new Calhoun, a 4/5 body that quests for 2. When this character is banished, gain 1 lore, and it has bodyguard. So your opponent's going to have to deal with this before they run through anything else, and then it's going to gain you a lore in the process. A 4/5 for 6. 6 cost is very expensive, but 4/5 is decent stats, and it quests for 2. We got a new Lady, a 1 cost inkable 0/3. Whenever you play a character, this character gets +1 strength. While this character has 3 strength or more, she gets +2 lore. Not sure how I feel about this. I mean, it is a shift target for the uninkable Lady, which is always good. An aggro-oriented Emerald Amber strategy will always aim to play characters and maybe a few characters. So, this card could go up to like 2, 3, 4 even maybe. And then she gets additional lore, right? Or it can actually challenge with that strength. So, it's a little bit of a dual purpose. Like, you give it strength, okay, I'm not going to use the strength to challenge because I want to get my quest in. Like, I don't like cards that are designed to do a little bit of both things, I'd rather them just go all in on one thing. But for the sake of card balance, maybe this was necessary. Next up, you've got Alma Madrigal, a 6-cost inkable 5/5 body that quests for 2. Once during your turn, whenever one or more of your characters sings a song, you may ready those characters. That's a pretty good effect. But again, very high cost. By the time you get to this point in the game, are you already basically losing? What does readying up your characters really mean? You're not an aggro strategy. You're not playing a 6-cost card in an aggro deck like this, or a 6-cost card like this in an aggro deck. So, a mid-range Amber Amethyst that tries to draw the game out, this card could be pretty good, keeping your big threats readied up. Also synergizes with the Amethyst Pinocchio that when it readies, well, no, because you're not going to sing with that. You want a quest for 2, right? And yeah, you have to only ready the characters that sing, right? Because it says whenever one or more of your characters sings a song. So if they sing together, like they all ready up, but you may ready those characters. So those, as in the cards that sang, or so you can't be like quest with Pinocchio, sing friends with Mim Fox, and then trigger this to ready up the Pinocchio and gain the extra lore there. No, you have to ready up the Mim Fox. It looks like so. Interesting card, but yeah, probably way too expensive to be relevant. Maybe again, as the mid-range Amber Amethyst or Madrigal deck becomes better, this card could slot in, but for now, probably unplayable. You've got a 3-cost inkable Clawhauser, 1/4 body that quests for 2, has bodyguard and singer form. So again, it's got that like, do I want to quest or do I want to sing with it? Either way, I'm turning it sideways, but like, I'd rather it, I don't know, cost 1 less than quest for 1, have these abilities. That would be crazy. Which I guess it can't, right? Because then it's basically Ursula Vanessa with bodyguard, because she's already singer 4 for these stats. So, yeah. Next up, you got a 3-cost inkable common 3/3 Joey. Whenever this character quests, you may remove up to 1 damage from each of your characters with bodyguard. I think this is a generically like okay card, but again, does it do enough to slot into the 3-cost curve on bodyguard decks? I don't know. All right, we're almost at the end of the line here. I think I'm like losing my mind here, so I gotta stay focused. Anyways, we got an 8-cost inkable Donald Duck coin collector, a 4/8 body that quests for 2. I already looked at this during my member video. I know it seems okay, but then the piggy bank card that it procs off of is just not good. So for each item named the nephew's piggy bank you have in play, you pay 2 less to play this character. So it's already, you can see down here, an uninkable item card. It don't only cost 2, but like, you have 2 of these set up to play this for 4. When you play this character, other characters gain exert, draw a card this turn. So again, that's not really like that great inevitability. This is a super rare, but am I really going to want to turn cards sideways to draw cards? Or do I want to quest? Right? And it's only when you play this character, so it's not any other time. But, you do get a 4/8 body on the board when you do play him, so he's not necessarily terrible. I just find it hard to make the cards relevant enough to warrant his abilities actually like being worth playing, which right now it is not for the cost and the conditions. We got a reprint of Dalmatian Puppy, 2-cost inkable 2/3 body, and you can have unlimited amounts in your deck basically, or up to 99, quest for 1. You got Candy Drift. This card I thought was interesting as well. 2-cost inkable action in Amber Ruby. Draw a card. Chosen character of yours gets +5 strength this turn. At the end of your turn, though, you have to banish them. So whatever you're giving the +5 strength to is likely being banished anyways in whatever it's challenging. But there's a number of cards that proc when they get strength also, which may be worth looking into. I don't remember. I know Pete and Emerald, but like I don't remember if any are tied to Amber and or Ruby for the proc this ability when the strength is this. Like I think there's that location that if a character, no, that has to be at the start of the turn though, so you can't even like stack this because you're gonna banish the character at the end anyways. But yeah, looks like an interesting card, a decent card in my opinion, for an ink pairing that is never really played competitively. Next up, you got a 1-cost inkable action. Choose one, remove up to 3 damage from chosen character, or remove up to 3 damage from each of your characters with bodyguard. She's your person. Could be pretty good in bodyguards. I don't know. We'll see. Got a lot to test. Next up, we got Only So Much Room, a 4-cost inkable action. Return chosen character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. Return character card from your discard to your hand. For the cost of 4, that is pretty expensive. It is disruption in the fact that it bounces an opponent's card with 2 strength or less. But you can't target things like opposing Prince Johns or Muses. You don't want to target something like a Tipo. What else are you really hitting with this that's really meaningful that you don't want to proc another ability for your opponent? So the reanimation ability, or not even reanimating, but like returning a character card from your discard to your hand is nice. But for 4, I think I'd rather just contest the board, develop my own board. So next up, we got an amazing new song, which is also an enchanted. These enchanteds look insane, by the way. This Perdita in particular looks very, very good. But this is a sync together at 9, right? And there is that Cinderella that is basically worth $1. That is a singer 9, so she could single-handedly sing this. Does she come back? She's like a 1/5 body for 4 or 5 or something like that. Don't remember her exact cost or stats, but you know, she was never used. Return 3 characters from your discard to your hand. You may pay 2 less for the next character you play this turn. As a one-of, it could be pretty decent because, you know, seeing this late game, singing it so you still have all your ink available and bringing back whatever you need at the moment in time from your discard to your hand. Like, oh, I need to bring back this big Sisu and take out some stuff. I need to bring out Maldragons. If you're in an aggro-oriented version, well, you're not playing this in aggro, but like, you know, it's a mid-range / control-oriented card. I do like it. I like cards that are able to reanimate from graveyard. Talked about this before. Next up, we've got a 2-cost inkable action song, Trials and Tribulations. Chosen character gets -4 until the start of your next turn. So not something I see being super relevant here. You know, even against Shark, like it makes it -3, so Under the Sea still doesn't hit it, which is crazy. Yeah, hard to see where that card fits in. Next up, we got the final card, the Nephew's Piggy Bank. So no locations and only 1 item in Amber, which is crazy. Let me just double check. There may have been some other dual inks that were items. No, there were not. Yeah, that's interesting. Or locations. Yeah, that's crazy. Still no locations. 2 sets with no locations in a row. But yeah, 2-cost uninkable, the Nephew's Piggy Bank. If you have a character named Donald Duck in play, you pay 1 less to play this item. So obviously you're not playing the big McDuck, Donald Duck. You're playing the smaller Donald Ducks, right? You're not playing this one up here. Holy cow. What? Where did we review it? I'm like losing it here, guys. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, you're not playing this one. You're going to be playing probably more efficient Donald Ducks in order to be able to play this for 1 less. But you have to exert it, and chosen character gets -1 until the start of your next turn. I guess I shouldn't say it's terrible because I guess Ice Block is almost the same. But this does cost 1 more. They're both uninkable. And then this card does have synergy with this. Sorry, this item, the Nephew's Piggy Bank, does have synergy with Donald Duck here, but don't know how relevant that's actually going to be. But yeah, that does it. So hopefully you're still with me. Really nice enchanteds. So may actually be worth picking up sealed product this time around. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you made it this far, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know some additional points, any other combos or cool things you figured out in the meantime. Again, thanks for watching. Quantum is out.